Hey guys, Justine here. I haven't done a video in a while, and I just feel kind of called upon to do a quick video today about codependency. And disclaimer, I am by no means an expert on codependency and codependent relationships and that sort of thing, but it's something that's come to my awareness lately, and I feel like I'm just starting to learn about what it means, and I feel like it's a multi-layered thing, just like everything else in life. And I find it very, very intriguing and interesting, and I think it's something that's not really widely talked about or understood, much like other things, basically everything in life. So, this is something that's just come to my awareness because of my personal relationships. And again, I have always made videos and have shared from personal experience with the intention of purely sharing my experience in hopes that I can encourage somebody else if they're going through the same thing that I am or similar, and just to spread some sort of light, even if I may be in the midst of darkness. And that's kind of who I am and what I'm all about. So, codependency. I think we've all heard the term tossed around, and for a long time I didn't really pay attention to what it meant because it has the word dependency in it, dependent, which many of us have a negative connotation with, as I did, because we automatically think that being dependent on somebody or on something outside of ourselves is unhealthy. And to some degree, that may be true. However, it's also fairly unhealthy to be only self-reliant and self-dependent and to never let anybody in and that sort of thing. So, I started researching codependency, and this is a definition that comes up from the dictionary. An excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, typically a partner who requires support due to an illness or addiction. When I read that for the first time, I think maybe a couple weeks ago, or it might have even been last week, I thought, holy shit. Holy shit. Codependency is not necessarily about depending or relying on other people because you can't do things by yourself. It's really much more complex than that. And that really resonated with me reading that. And that's only one definition, mind you, but that resonated with me so much more than thinking to myself or having other people think or say that codependency is just, being lazy or just not being independent, because, you can absolutely be an independent person and be involved in a codependent dynamic. And that's kind of what I want to dive into a little bit today, because for the most part, I'm a very independent person. I live alone and I, work alone. I do a lot of things for myself by myself, but I also have played into a lot of codependent relationships in my life. And as I said earlier, it's not really healthy to only depend on other people, and it's also not healthy to only depend and rely on yourself exclusively and to not let other people in. And I think, honestly, that's a huge part of codependency, is making sure that other people are okay and neglecting self. And so it's not only about external relationships with other people, it's also about your relationship with yourself. And this is something that I'm just learning about now. So again, disclaimer, I'm not claiming to be some sort of expert on codependency, because I'm not. And, I'm just scratching the surface of what this is, because I do think it's a whole world of something to learn about. And I'm just diving into this world now and want to talk about it and, not really to get, I need to get support, yes. I'm not asking the internet for support on this. I just, want to talk about it because I don't think enough people know what it is exactly. And there are 1.5 million books about it. There's also a thing called Codependence Anonymous, which I found myself in tonight for the first time, which was quite an experience. And tonight we were talking about boundary setting internally and externally. So, it's really interesting. It's just really interesting. So, from what I've read and researched, codependency typically stems from something in childhood. And again, it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different story and plays it out in different dynamics. For me, I've probably shared about this before, and if I haven't, then I'll do it now briefly. I'll give you the Cliff's Notes of Justine's life story. But I think all of my codependency stems from being young and having a younger sibling with special needs, with autism, also with type 1 juvenile diabetes, and he almost died in a coma when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And from that time, I mean, I was always very mature for my age, but I very much became a third parent to my brother and put my needs last and felt that other people put my needs last. And so I put my needs last and my feelings last, and I felt like my feelings didn't really matter. And when you're a kid, you make these things mean whatever they mean, and you do whatever it is that you have to do to survive. And so as an adult, you can look back and say, this is what happened, and you can be objective about it and not make it mean something very personal. But as a child, you don't know how to do that. You don't have the skills to do that. You don't have the knowledge. You don't have anything to not make it mean something about yourself. And the problem is, you grow up and you play out this pattern with other people because it feels familiar to you. And this is, why I am becoming aware of this in my life, because I've always put myself in certain relationships where I have this pattern come up of either I feel neglected or I feel rejected on some level, or I end up in a relationship with someone who is a recovering addict. And it doesn't mean that I'm involved with people that are toxic. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily involved with people that aren't good people. But I've been attracted to people, and this is what's so crazy about it, is that I've been attracted to people subconsciously because of my inner stuff, because of my inner dialogue, because of my inner beliefs. And that's why I just find it so interesting, and that's why it requires like this whole healing process and awareness, but also, awareness is key and is the first step, but it also takes going to an uncomfortable meeting or reaching out for help or trying to find therapy, or, like whatever healing means for you is different than what it means for me. And I don't think any of us necessarily even know what that answer is, to be honest. I think that everyone has their own healing journey. And, for many years, I've been healing a lot of things on my spiritual journey alone and through reading books and through yoga and meditation, all these things. And a lot of those things aren't really working for me anymore. And I have become a person that, works all the time and sometimes neglects what's going on internally. And I'm someone that's just like anyone else, trying to get through life and comes up towards roadblocks and is just trying to heal and trying to recover and be healthy and be in healthy partnerships with others. But also I'm learning, and of course I'm on this never-ending journey of being in a healthy relationship with myself. Aren't we all? So anyways, there's not really a point to this video. I just kind of wanted to come out about it and talk about it and just have open dialogue about codependency, because I think it's something that's more common than people realize. So is depression and so is anxiety, and those are probably things that are linked to codependency as well, because I find that I have a lot of anxiety with my family, and I have this, obsessive need to feel this way. I always feel like I need to take care of people. And so, like I said earlier, I got involved in a very intimate, serious relationship with someone that I still love very deeply, who, has been recovering from a long time addiction that was, a very casual thing in their life. And I won't disclose, any more information than that. But, needless to say, I got involved with somebody where things were really great in the beginning, and we took down so many blocks in terms of intimacy issues and fears, and I overcame so much, and with his help, and we had a lot of beautiful times, and we had a very beautiful relationship. However, we also later faced times when he was really struggling, and I got into this codependent dynamic once again in my life where I put myself last, my needs were last, my feelings were last, and him and his health were number one. And there are times in life where, people have health issues or a health crisis or someone passes away suddenly. There are times when those things happen and we have to put everything on the back burner, including ourselves and our self-care. And, that's kind of just a part of life. But the problem is that if this is like an ongoing issue in your life and you're constantly putting yourself last, you'll become someone like me who constantly feels burnt out and feels like your soul is a little bit dead, and you feel, a little bit of resentment, and you feel angry, and you feel upset, and you feel neglected, and you feel depressed, and you feel all these things. And you can try to force yourself to keep trucking forward and moving forward in your life and working hard and providing for yourself and all these things. But at the end of the day, you still have this like empty feeling because, if you're a codependent, you're used to feeling some sort of gratification or some sort of sense of self-worth because you're used to being an overgiver in a relationship or in all of your relationships. And when those things no longer require your attention and your 100% effort, and you have to learn how to direct that effort and attention and love towards yourself, it's hard because, you're so used to putting out everything you have into another person, into many other people in your life. It's like you have to learn how to walk again. You have to learn how to eat again. And maybe not literally, but that's basically what it feels like. It feels like you're kind of thrown out of a situation. It's like, I just feel like I was spit out of a journey, spit out of some sort of roller coaster ride, and I have to learn literally like how to do everything again for myself. And it's like, maybe I'm kind of learning it for the first time in a way, because I don't know if I've ever really known how to 100% provide for myself emotionally. And I've tried to. I've certainly learned how to provide for myself physically, but I think when you get into codependent relationships, you start to feel, again, a sense of worth and a sense of purpose, because you're constantly trying to help other people, but to the point of like, it's your life's mission to fix somebody and their problems, and that's just not healthy. So anyways, that's probably all I'm going to say for today. If you have any experience with any of the things that I've mentioned today, feel free to leave a comment or send me an email or something like that. I'll leave my email address below. And if you'd like me to talk more about this, I almost want to do a series on codependency as I learn more about it and have more, awareness about myself and my situation come to light. This may be something that I want to share, again, with the intention of helping other people, and if you can relate, then that's kind of the goal, because we need to, realize that we're not alone. And I feel like a huge part of codependency is feeling isolated and feeling abandoned and feeling rejected, because I think we can typically be very focused on the external and focus on other people. And when those people either leave or they pass away or they just move on to something else or they start recovering themselves, it leaves you / I in a position where we don't know what the beep to do. I was going to swear, and then I was like, maybe I won't swear. Anyways, I'm going to go, but thanks for listening, and let me know if you would like to hear any more about this whole codependent thing that I'm learning about. Okay, take care, guys. Bye.